Welcome to another edition of Global Conversations. This is going to be a little bit different of a show tonight, but not unrelated to the conflict in Ukraine and the Donbass. My guest is Mira Terada. She's coming to us from Moscow. Mira, welcome to the show.
Hello, Regis.
Well, I'm happy to have you. Um, I want to know, you told me you were the head of the Foundation to Battle Injustice. Tell me what that is.
It's a pleasure to be on the show. And Foundation to Battle Injustice is a nonprofit organization that take care of human rights all over the world, basically.
And did you found this organization?
The organization was founded with the assistance of the Russian entrepreneur.
Okay, so you're concerned about injustice all over the world. That seems really broad. What are the kind of things that you look at and look for, and what do you do about them?
At first, it was mostly prisoners, and we were working with the violation of human rights in police, justice, court, prison systems all over the world. Later on, we also picked up the case of Mira and the situation was minors that's posted on Mira and the case was journalists on Mira.
Okay, so let's talk about this Mirat Vorets. Some people know about that. Um, I guess the English that they would use for this is kill list, a Ukrainian kill list. Tell me about this. Where did it start? Who started it? And like, who's on this kill list?
Well, the foundation investigation found out that it has been established by the among organizers, sponsors, and instructors of the Ukrainian nationalists. And there are not only Ukrainian politicians and public figures that are involved in it, but also Western individuals and organizations, including retired American officers and employees of the British publication Bellingcat. And it was founded in December 2014. It's supervised by the public organization Mirotvorets Center that's headed by Roman Zaitsev, who is a former employee of the Ukrainian Special Services, and the public organization People's Rare. It's headed by George Tuka, a Ukrainian statesman and public figure. The site is controlled by the Security Service of Ukraine and was created on the initiative of Anton Gerashchenko, who is advisor to the Minister of Internal Affairs of Ukraine. And we basically trying to pronounce this organization as a terrorist organization, everyone who stays behind it as a terrorist, because what they do is total terrorism, because some people on it were killed, and after they were killed, their profile was marked as liquidated. And it's a very interesting story. For example, in May 2016, Mirotvorets published the personal data of 4,508 journalists and media representatives from around the world who received accreditation to work in territory of Donbass, and the administration of the resource hacked the database of the Ministry of State Security of the Donetsk People's Republic. From where it received phone numbers, email addresses, and regions of residence of foreign journalists who, according to the curators of Mirotvorets, collaborated with terrorists in the territories not controlled by the Ukrainian government. there was a huge scandal, but nothing was done except that the world society condemned the website, absolutely ignoring that it's violation of every possible law, Ukrainian law, Russian law, international law, and it's a violation of the main law of each country constitution. And so and especially when it comes to the minors, because to me it seems like a menu for pedophiles or for the human traffickers, because they can open their website and there you can see picture of people, their home address, phone number, social networks, where they usually go to, and so on. And the saddest part of all this story is there are so many people that have been killed already.
So when you started talking about it, you mentioned even some American generals. Are they on the kill list?
Some people, some Americans are, and we approached already about this different international or world organizations saying, all right, if you don't care about the destiny of other people, of other nationalities, please take a look at your own citizens that are on the website, because it's dangerous, it's not safe, and surprisingly, it hasn't been fixed, because I know that Ukraine or US, same thing, when they don't like the resource, the website, they just block it. It took them a second to block Russia Today, for example, or any other news agency. What takes them 8 years to block Mirotvorets? If you do not resist it, means you support it. And then we also analyzed the network protocol of the domain of the Mirotvorets site, and we found out that the resource uses the service of technology company from California. It's Cloudflare. And right now we submitted paperwork again to the United Nations. Sorry, we got about 1,000 signatures within like 2 weeks from all over the world of people who would like Mirotvorets to be closed. And we send it to the UN. But if this time, again, they just will condemn it, but will not do nothing, we will have to go to the Cloudflare, because if they provide service to Mirotvorets, that means, again, they are part of this crime that Mirotvorets commits.
Okay, I know that several leaders and even the head of the Donetsk People Republic were assassinated. And at the time, it was attributed to the SBU, the Ukrainian Secret Service. There have been several other assassinations. And most recently, Miss Dugina in Moscow was assassinated. I don't know whether they were after her or her father. So some of these assassinations have been publicized. Lots of people know about them. So I want to know, first of all, how many people are on this Mirotvorets list, the kill list?
There are thousands of people. You won't be able to count it because they don't number the profiles, but there are thousands.
Thousands. Wow. And the list includes, you mentioned journalists from around the world. Who else would be on this list? Political activists all over the world, or who else is on this?
Children, political activists, as you said, social activists, anybody like opinion makers, random people, just regular people who went, for example, on vacation to Crimea and accused of crossing the border illegally or something like that.
Okay. This should be really troubling to a lot of people everywhere, if they have publicly stated they're against what Ukraine is doing, if they've publicly stated that they believe that the regime in Kiev is a Nazi regime, these are the kind of things that people could be on the list for. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
All right. Now, this is of great concern. You mentioned children are on the list, and a young woman, a 14-year-old young woman from Lugansk, the Lugansk People Republic, Faina Savinkova, is on that list. And I interviewed her with your help a week ago. Now, I want to know a few things about this. First of all, how many children are on this list? Do you have any idea?
Of course. I just want to correct you. Faina is not 14. She is 13 right now.
13.
Yes. And there are 327 children, including her.
327. And she's only 13.
The youngest child is 9 years old.
Oh my God. And where are these children from? Are they all from the Donbass?
No, there are some from Donbass, some from Russia, some from Ukraine, some from Armenia, and other countries.
Wow. All right. So 13-year-old Faina Savinkova, how did you find her?
She found me, actually. Faina, she is a writer, and I'm a writer myself as well. On a free time, I published 2 books, and she wrote me as to her colleague, and we've been talking about the writing work and stuff like that. And then she told me that she is on Mirotvorets, and I was shocked because I'm a human rights defender, and I couldn't put it together how it's possible that minor information is published so openly that anybody can have access to it without permission of your parents. And I asked my colleagues to go through Mirotvorets and look for other children. And it took a long time for them to do this analysis, but they found 327 children in total. And they analyzed how many girls, how many boys, what's their age, who is the youngest, what's the crime that they're accused of, and so on. And then we took this report and we submitted it to Ukraine, to the prosecutor, asking to figure what's happening. And they started the investigation, as they started many times long ago. And the last what we heard from them is that they passed the report to the Division of Cybercrime. And meanwhile, we submitted the same report here in Russia to our police, and we submitted that report to the UN. And UN had the meeting, the safety meeting, as they do like on a weekly basis, where they've been discussing this. But again, beside the condemnation, nothing else happened. Children are still on it. And we're hoping that sooner or later, hopefully sooner, this website will be closed, because Daria Dugina, who you mentioned earlier, the philosopher, we worked together. So for many of us, it's a personal tragedy, and we understand that every single one of us who is on Mirotvorets, we are potentially victims of any types of crime, as nationalist, as other types of crimes.
Wow. Did you find out about Mirotvorets through Faina, or had you already heard about it?
I heard about it before.
Okay. Now, tell me, what are some of the crimes these children have been accused of?
Oh, most of them are accused of going on vacation to Crimea, which is not the Ukrainian part.
Oh my God.
Yes, and other children are accused of, for example, participating on a Victory Day parade. Since the resources nationalist, you know, they, I guess, not supporting Victory Day. I don't know what the ideology is about, but that's what it is. Some of them accused of being victims of Russian propaganda, for example, which makes no sense. If those people are, those children are victims, why would you victimize them even more? Like one of my charges, for example, sounds just insane, like humanitarian aggression. What I did was I donated the books that I wrote to the library. So they called it that humanitarian aggression. And like when you would look at the humanitarian and aggression words, it's totally opposite. But they put it together and try to make sense out of it.
Wow. If I understood Faina correctly, some of the children are on the list because they just pleaded to live in peace and to stop the bombing. Is that true?
Yes, it's true. It's the same what happened to Faina. I don't believe that her books, her writing has anything to do with Mira because she was put on the list after she recorded a video that she recorded for Antonio Guterres, asking, telling him that every child in the world deserves peaceful sky and safe childhood, a true childhood. And after that, she was put on Mirotvorets. And after that, everyone who contacts her or have interview with her or somehow connected with her, they automatically place those people on Mirotvorets. There's this journalist, he works, he's British, he works for Press TV. And once he had interview with her, they put his name on Mirotvorets. And for him, he was working in Donbass at the time. It was absolutely not safe to be there. So he left to London for a while, you know, because it's crazy that I believe they're trying to suppress the freedom of speech by doing this. It started a long time ago with Julian Assange. Now a lot of journalists are persecuted same way as Julian is still getting prosecuted, just as a copy paste. And Mirotvorets is just a step further to scare people and to shut people's voices and the truth that they're trying to bring out.
Well, I know from speaking with Faina last week that she made a video that she sent to the head of the United Nations, Guterres, pleading with them to bring peace for children in the Donbass and around the world. And that's the reason why she's on it. Is that correct? Because she got so much publicity.
That's what I believe in, yes.
Well, she's become very popular internationally. She's been interviewed by so many people. And it's really great because, you know, I think the voice of a child and a 13-year-old speaks much louder and much clearer than any of us adults or professional journalists or politicians. This is a child that's speaking who's on a kill list. I mean, who would not want to listen to her and even sympathize? And
I will tell you who doesn't want. The Amnesty International doesn't want to. Mr. Scholz doesn't want to. President Macron did not want to. And there are so many who did not want. But of course, there are some journalists who are actually free, independent, professional journalists. They do hear her and they help to deliver her word to the world.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I know, and it isn't a secret, it's public. The United States brags about it. The United States has spent now over $60 trillion, 60 billion, I'm sorry, $60 billion in Ukraine, at least since 2014 when they backed and funded the coup d'etat, the Maidan. The United States has been sending even more money. Even last week, the Congress voted to send another hundred and some $1 million to Ukraine. Zelensky keeps asking for more, for more, for more. I have to believe that the American taxpayers are the ones who are funding this Mirovorets. I guess I should have made that a question.
I mean, do I believe that?
Well, let me rephrase it, and I'll make it a lot simpler.
Okay.
Who is funding, or where is the funding coming from for this Mirovorets?
Well, I will tell you that Miratvorets, it's crowdfunded. So it does receive large financial assistance from anonymous donors from the West.
Whoa.
And it should be noted that sponsors can be anyone from Ukrainian nationalists living in the United States or Canada to agents of Western special services who just master, as you said, taxpayers' money.
Wow. Well, I will go on record as saying that the United States government and taxpayers' money, American taxpayers' money, has dumped in that $60 billion into Ukraine. They're going to be spreading that around to whoever needs it. And not just the military, but I'm sure the SBU, I'm sure all those people who are doing their propaganda are getting, they're not just getting funding, they're getting their talking points and their propaganda from the CIA, from MI6 in the UK, and who knows where else. But anyway, that's my own personal opinion. I did not want to put words into your mouth. Okay, let me ask you like one last question. This is just a question about how you see this conflict unfolding in the Ukraine. There's so much propaganda. The world has never seen a propaganda war, a psychological operations war, an asymmetrical war like this one. Do you have an opinion on how you think this conflict is going? Is Russia losing badly, like many people in the West are saying? Or is it just a matter of a little bit more time? Do you care to comment on that?
I'm not military expert, so my comment cannot be professional. So I will comment on it as a human rights defender. The only thing that I see right now is death. There are so many people die from both sides. There are so many people, wounded people from both sides. So I see it as a big problem of the whole world because the balance line is dismissed, and hopefully it will be over soon because every war ends at the table of diplomacy and dialogue. So I'm hoping it just happens sooner so we will have less victims of these military activities.
Well, Mira, before I let you go, is there anything else you would like to say to the audience, my viewers who would be listening to this?
Of course, I would like to approach the Western audience by saying to watch the video with Faina Savinkova and think about where your money as taxpayers are going to, because children like her get killed every day. And this is not your war. Like, this is like, what is that for? Like, what's the purpose for it? What's the purpose of ruining lives of those people. And the second thing that I want to say is to everyone that we should unite, and because only united we are stronger. Unite and fight Mirotvorets to finally shut it down. And I'm asking everyone to be respectful to each other, merciful to each other, because what's happening around the world with all the Russophobia and so on, it's not who we are naturally. It's what's put on our heads by different types of propaganda. And if we will be more respectful, more kind, more empathic to each other, the world will be better. And I wish to everyone faith, hope, love, and peace.
Is there someplace, a website, where people can sign this petition or this letter that you talked about earlier in the show? You gathered 1,000 signatures in a couple of weeks. There is.
Yes, there is. Of course, the foundation has a website where you can actually look at the work that we do. It's in 3 different languages, Russian, English, and French. Russian news goes a little faster, but then we always get it translated. And the website called fondfbr.ru. So I will spell it FONDFBR.ru. It's F as a frog, O as an open, N as a Nancy, D as a dog, F as a fox, B as a box, R as a rabbit, .ru.
.ru. Okay, I'll put that in the description as well. Mira, I want to thank you so much for spending this time with us.
It was
Very
my
great.
pleasure.
Well, I'm very grateful, and people have to be grateful to you and your organization for what you're doing to bring this evil activity to the entire world. I do not understand how people can sit idly by when they know that there's a kill list, assassination list, uh, involving thousands of people, including 327 children that you know about from around the world. It is something seriously, seriously wrong and evil. And I thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. You have a nice evening.